Okay, friends. So, welcome to the Oh My Goodness podcast with me, AJ Smith, the Joy Weaver. I am so freaking excited to talk to you today. I am on the floor of my new home. We moved to Mississippi. I recorded a podcast episode last week, and then a garbage truck came and made really loud sounds. And it sounds like, anyways, it's aggressive. So I have to re record it so that nobody jumps and has jump scares while listening to the podcast. And I am letting it all be okay, right? I am trusting the divine perfect timing of this. I'm trusting that it's okay that I don't have my microphone. I'm trusting that if you're watching on YouTube, you're okay with the video quality because my camera stopped working on the move. I don't know. So like here we are, right? We're doing the things that this is life. And what I want to talk today is about allowing. Oh, and I'm coming off of four different client meetings today of creative soul coaching. Three of those, and then one was an energetic reading, which I'm offering, and I put it in my group, and so I'm offering it here on the podcast, and I have four more slots left. It's a trial offer, a kind of a beta offer of an energy reading, asynchronous. So send me a message. It's $33, and I'll send you information for that. So just send me an email at thejoyweaver.com at gmail.com. But the idea I wanted to get into is allowing, because this has been a theme across so many of my calls lately and conversations I'm having. And y'all, the up leveling, the expansion happening right now. I don't know if you're noticing this, but things are shifting on a massive scale. I mean, like, yes, globally, there's like crazy things shifting, but the energy shifts in the women, fuck. Oh, sorry, for sorry. Actually, I'm not. I just, oh my gosh. Okay, like my women are seeing how magical they are. Like they're seeing the way I see. So I call myself a joy weaver. We're going to get to allowing, but like walk with me here. Just imagine we're sitting together at dinner and I have hot chocolate and you have whatever you like to eat, and we're on the couch and we're kind of chatting. So, the way I see energy, the reason why I call myself a weaver, let's start there. I read this book called Discovery of Witches. And this was back when I was trying to figure out, what am I? I was deconstructing my faith and I was like, I love Jesus. And also the goddess showed up. So, like, what do I do with this? Right. And I see energy as threads. I see possibility threads. You've heard me talk about that before. I see how everything's connected. Like it all looks like it ripples. It's this giant tapestry, but we all have threads. And I read this book, and in it, Diana, I'm not giving anything away because it talks about it and there's a show. So you've had time to read the book, but she's a weaver. She's a specific type of witch that sees the threads. And I remember going to Jer and I had tears in my eyes and I was like, oh my God, there's a name for people like me. As somebody else, she wrote it. It's in a book. Like she's a weaver. I'm a weaver. Like I didn't know this was a thing. And I was so outrageously excited. And so when I can see how sparkly people are or how capable they are, and then they start realizing too what happens when you use some pleasure or joy or play, and when you see reality for more than what it just is, right? Sometimes everything's so black and white, so it's just this, it's just wake up, brush our teeth, go to job, go home, but not. And it's like, no, there's more. There's, even if yes, that's theoretically what you do, the way you show up in your life, you have zest, you have vitality, you have the way you're talking to your friends, the way you see people, the way you speak life into people. This is the energy of living, of spirit flowing through you to connect you, right? The life force, the threads, the change that happens, the tiny alchemy of moments of magic in your everyday life, right? Of the way the light trickles through the trees and the grass feels beneath your feet, and like the way food tastes, like everything is electric, everything is alive, and it's like seen in 5D. And then people are just talking about the pothole, and you're like, Bob, no. No, Bob, no. And there's this video. Oh, it's so funny. There's this video of this kid talking to his aunt or something. He's like, Linda, listen, listen, Linda, listen. And and so my clients are 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 expanding. And it's so exciting because they're realizing as they do these little shifts. So often people come, and maybe you're noticing this in your life too. You're like, I got to make all these shifts. I got to do all these things. I got to change my life. I want to do XYZ in 30 days or 6 months. And we set the vision on, I'll have this and I'll be happy. But so often the work I do, and my 6 month slots are open. I've got openings for the month of June. So these are going to fill quickly. So send me a message because I've got goodness if people sign before June 1st. But the magic comes when you learn how to listen to your true inside voice, your true inner voice, your knowing, your nudge. There's like spirit and there's your soul, right? And they're different, but they're also similar. They have a similar frequency, one could say. And if you're like, AJ, I don't know what you're talking about, I've talked about this in the intuition episode and in the inner critic episode. But my women, my clients, these fabulous, fabulous women that I love so much, I just want to explode with joy. They are listening intuitively in a way that they have not before, and it's exponential. When I tell you, people are moving countries, people are moving countries, people are moving jobs. They have left jobs, they have gotten new jobs with more benefits, more pay. They have gotten jobs in completely different sections and they're speaking up for themselves, they're setting boundaries, they're having great sex. They're like, I and their faith is deepening, their trust in themselves, the way they're carrying themselves, the way they're dressing, like they're transforming. It's like watching flowers bloom in real time. You've ever seen those fast forwarded videos? It's just marvelous. And it's because they're having this allowing of letting themselves listen. And you might be like, AJ, I don't understand. Let me lay it out for you. You can hear, but do you let yourself hear, right? So often we're like, oh, I know I shouldn't have gone out with that boy, or I know I shouldn't have done this thing, or I know I shouldn't have done that, but like, but you did know, right? Why wouldn't you let yourself listen? There's things, right? Reasons, safety, money, time, da da da, right? We all know the book. It's fine. There's no judgment. There just is. So they're allowing themselves to feel a little silly. And so often we don't want to look silly. What would they say? What would they do? Sandra, they're not happy either. They're not. People might be smiling, but is it in their eyeballs? And if the answer is no, if they're not living aligned lives, if they're not living a life that sparks them up like a whole Christmas tree, and it doesn't spark joy for you, then why are you looking? Why are you looking at them for approval? Because either they're not ahead where you are, or they're not operating in a way that's in integrity for what you want. People might be successful in a way that looks really shiny, but if it's not in congruence with your dreams, desires, and values, Bob, we don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want it. And you might be like, yeah, but I want it because I could do the things with, well, I'll give you a list of people who are living aligned values that are making a lot of money in ways that you're like, whoa, I didn't even know that was possible. Because once we know it's possible, we realize we don't always have to give up our values to do the things, right? And this came up a few times lately about values and desires. And I feel bad for desiring XYZ. I shouldn't want da da da. I shouldn't. Mm, mm. Remember, remember what happens when we say should. We're cutting ourselves off to fit in the box. Should is a very sharp, like butter knife, not butter knife, the knife that cuts bread that's like searing. Should, right? I should do this. I should do that. Every time you think that word, I want you to see that visual, cutting bread, burning, because it shuts us down. Shoulds shut us down. They shut us down, they shut us out from what we actually want. Now, what you actually want, here's where it gets like interesting. I need an example. Okay. I should not want to go on these trips because it's expensive and that's a waste of money, right? But the truth is, I want to go on these trips because they're fun and they're aligned, but there's an imagination part of us that gets really creative and like tells all these stories about all this stuff. And so often we forget to have it tell good stories about us. We just let it tell the bad stories. And we're like, oh, tell me what a terrible human I am for wanting these desires. And it goes to town. It goes to town. Your shame has no chill on the imagination button. It hits it like this. But what if the truth is these trips are in alignment because they are doing work that I love in the world, and they just so happen to be in other places in the world, but that the ripple impacts of these trips will be huge. They will be worthwhile. But there is a part that could say, oh, yeah, you shouldn't take these trips because you're ba-da-da. But then there's a part that's going to be like, I want these trips because I'm so rich and famous and this is ba-da-da. And how I want to, like, do you see how there's like these two opposite ends of the spectrum of like, oh, if we're not going to feel shame on this trip, so well, then I'm better than everybody because I'm taking it. Like, that's no, neither of those are true. The truth is, taking this many trips feels kind of edgy. And also, these are true. It does feel good to live aligned like this. I do love travel. Do I feel guilty for traveling as well? Yes, sometimes. But that allowing of feeling both, and sometimes this looks like hard conversations, right? Maybe this looks like the truth of the matter is, I don't want this job anymore. Does that mean I don't want any job and I just want to sit on the beach all day or like be in my garden all day? No. But it might be like, I want a job that works in a field that I used to dream about, or I want to learn a new skill and I want to go back to school, right? Do you see how it's like, I don't want this. Oh, well, then that means you want da da. No, Barbara. No, it does not. It just might mean, hey, here's actually this other desire that's underneath. What's the desire underneath the desire? And if we're like, I don't want this, we often think, oh, well, then you just want that. Can we stop with the either or and the pitting things against each other? Because if we say, oh, I don't want to fly, that's a weird example. Okay, I'm going to use an example. I shouldn't want to have ease in my life. That feels selfish to want ease in my life when we have war and genocide and crazy stuff happening all over the place, right? But then, okay, I don't get ease because of all these other things. So if I don't want ease, I'm not allowing myself to feel ease. What is the opposite of not allowing ease? It's disease, it's uncomfortableness, it's hardness. Does that make sense? Like if I can't have ease, okay, what am I open for? Right? Is not ease. So if we can say, okay, I want ease, and also I want to be vulnerable and open to the world. Do we see how that is a dichotomy that can be kind of uncomfortable? Even my body's like, ugh, right? Because it takes getting used to expand our capability of awareness and allowance to have the full spectrum of, I can feel some utter rage at the world for what's happening and gratitude that I have a house with air conditioning in this Mississippi heat that is about to get a lot hotter. I can feel sad for some situations happening in life right now. And I can feel absolutely elated at some cool news that I have that I get to announce in like a few weeks, on both hands. And if we make them opposites, then we force ourselves to ping pong back and forth. But the magic happens when we allow both. And people are like, you can't have both. That's not how that works. That's what the script wants you to think. That's what our society, our culture wants you to think, is that you can't have both. But the truth is that there often is both. And if you can allow yourself to acknowledge both, it actually gives you more power to let spirit flow. I had a situation the other day where I thought my business, a third of my income, I was going to lose it because of just stuff, Mississippi stuff. And I was like, oh no. And as I got the news, I didn't panic. And I was like, okay, this is late. I do not have the capability to think about this right now, I will get more information when I get it. I will feel better after a good night's sleep. And I was like, okay. And I called a mentor and I was talking it out with her. And I was like, hey, I did the right thing by being honest and transparent and like asking for this information. She's like, yep. And she's like, what if this is the setup for spirit to do something really cool? And I was like, yeah, what if, right? What if this is the moment that it's like, hey, ball set spike, right? So what if this is in volleyball? It's like somebody taps the ball so it goes up and then somebody else puts it over and then somebody else spikes it down on the ground. What if this is the setup for something cool? And I was like, oh, I like that. Okay, yeah, this is a setup. We're going to get more information. Maybe this is pointing me in the right direction. When my hands went out 2 years ago and I was in braces for 3 months and I shut down my entire business, it made me lean more into the coaching side and the things, and I let go of the tech side of my virtual assistant. I kept it for a little bit, but then my hands were like, no, right? But it fueled so much. And I don't like being the like, this happened and then this happened. But there are moments where we get to choose, okay, how am I leaning into this? Okay, what am I taking from this? Okay, here's the dirt. Here's the shit that I'm around. How am I going to use this as fertilizer? How am I going to use? And sometimes we just got to lay in it and be like sometimes we just got to like wallow. And then it's like, okay, I'm going on an adventure. I know I'm going to slip and hit my knee. I know I might twist an ankle on the journey. If we're climbing a mountain, we're going to get a face full of spider web. We're going to like stub our toe. We're going to like get a little dehydrated. I mean, hopefully not like we're drinking water. We're trying not to do these things, but you're going to have to change out your socks so you don't get trench foot, right? Like if we can acknowledge that these weird things happen along the journey of just life, then we're not bracing for impact. I brought this up today and somebody didn't know this, and I forget how much I read books. But the reason why drunk drivers survive so often in their crashes is because their body is so loose, because they're so delirious and so out of it that their body's loose so they can like absorb the crash impact. But if you're bracing for impact, if you see it, you're about to get hit and you brace, your body holds that more tension. You have a higher, what do you call it? Rate of being injured, but it's crazy, right? And so I was like, our body is naturally wired to keep us safe, to, okay, oh, wait, what about the XYZ? Like to worry, fear, all that jazz. And the practice is to say, I'm going to be able to do the next right thing as I get more information. I will know the next information when I need to get it. What do I need to do to get that information? If I can't do anything right now, okay, I'm going to wait. And that's hard. It's hard not to control everything. It's hard not to want to be like, okay, but it's got to look like this so I can feel safe. It's got to be like this so that I know what it's supposed to be like. I know, I know, I know, I know. I feel you. I struggle with this all the time. And it gets better. I've been practicing with this kind of phrasing for like 2 years now, 2.5. Yep, about. Oh, and it's gotten easier, but holy buckets. Sometimes it's really hard. And then other times it's like, oh, okay, this is one of those moments. Okay, reality, we're going with the flow. Okay, I'm going to trust that I just do not have as much information as I need yet. Okay, this is an interesting situation, right? I try not to call bad days bad days. I just like, that was a big day. That was an adventure day. Okay, we need a nap. We need a snack. And what happens when we don't do that, when we keep pushing through, when our body's like, no, no, put me down, let me sleep, let me get a nap, let me take a bath, is we push through and then we make unaligned choices, right? You've heard me talk about halto, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, overwhelmed. Somebody said sick, like haltos. And I was like, ooh, shaltos? I don't know. We'll work on it. We'll workshop it. But the other night, I was 8 p.m. I have a guideline. I don't make executive calls about my life after 9 p.m. I should say after 8 p.m. And in the military community and in the SEA community, in a lot of communities I'm in, there's a heart of generosity where once you're done with something, you give it away, you sell it for cheap, whatever. Somebody posted in the loom community that their mom died and they were giving away their rigid heddle loom to somebody who would use it and love it and get a lot of use out of it. I got very excited. It was 9 p.m. I messaged them. I sent them money on Zelle because shipping. Should have done it at PayPal? Yep. Should have done it goods and services? Yep. Did she block me in the morning? I realized I got scammed? Yep. Did I know before I went to bed? And I was like, something about this doesn't sit right. I was like, I think I just lost my money. I was like, I don't think she's going to send it. I was like, I think I just got, and then I went to bed. I was like, I'll know more in the morning. And I opened up in the morning. I was like, yep. And I like just hit my energetic wall. And so I'm not saying we push past our things, we'll get scammed. But I am saying, if I would have read that message in the morning, I would have thought, hey, can you take a picture with it with today's date and this word on it? And I thought about asking that, but I didn't want to cause an inconvenience. I didn't want to be too much trouble. I didn't want to put her out. She was even Joe or whatever her name was. And maybe it looks like something different. Maybe it looks like committing to things when you're already overbooked, but you're tired. So you're just like, what's one more thing? One more thing can be the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's what it can be. But when we're saying yes out of resentment, out of frustration, out of exhaustion, when we're making decisions from that place because we're not actually resting, because we're fighting the dichotomy of being human so hard, we're not allowing ourselves the grace to just feel what we feel without pressure or guilt. Your emotions aren't bad, they're just signposts, but feeling feelings is exhausting. Feeling feelings is a lot. Feels are a lot. Emotions are a lot. It's in your body. Feeling an emotion is an emotional experience. It's like using the definition for a thing, but you know what I'm saying. It's no small thing. So I'm not being dismissive when I say like, hey, there's no bad emotions, but your emotions are trying to tell you something. And the more we shove them down, the louder they get. She's not hearing me. It's a 5-alarm fire in here. Ring the alarm bells even louder. Like, we're on fire down here. You see what I'm saying? But if you actually listen, they're like, we're totally freaked out that like we're not okay. And like XYZ, and you can be like, yeah, that makes sense. You want some rest. Me too. Look at the schedule. Okay, how can we figure this out? Right? If you can remember that you have a big soul, so many people forget this. Like, guys, you're not here by accident. And even if you are, okay, cool, use it. Like, you're here now. So like, ooh, like lean into it. Lean into the possibilities, because the opposite of not is just like whiplash all the time. What if you allow yourself to be like, okay, this flow has, we are on white water rapids. This is rough waters right now. How can I flow with this? How can I traverse this? Right? There's like white water rafting guides. Okay, how can I go with this? How can I kick off this rock? Okay, how can I? And like, sure, that's exhausting sometimes, but so is a lot of things, right? And like their society harm and their structures and their systemic stuff. Like, yes, 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 acknowledging all of that. And so much of our energy is fighting against everybody else and fighting ourselves. So the invitation here is, what if we just allow ourselves to feel what we feel and then tune into your big soul? What do you actually need? Do you need some sanctuary days? I should make a podcast about that. Do you need to have a hard conversation? Can you lean back into spirit? Can you listen? Like, do you see what I'm saying? That so often allowance is just allowing yourself to be human, allowing yourself to be held, allowing yourself to be loved. My friend, if you do that, like, yes, the world will not be solved, but like, oh my gosh, things get a whole lot easier and a whole lot more magical and a whole lot more aligned. When I tell you the divine timing and alignment that has been here in Mississippi, y'all would not even believe me. It's been wild, which is also part of the reason why I fell for the scam, because I was like, this makes sense. In the scheme of all the things I've been wanting to loom, like, of course it would pop up. But so I'm sending you all of the love, all of the tenderness. If you have any questions about this, feel free to email me and I'd love to chat about it. Or if you need me to hash some more stuff out, because I think we get stuck on the allowing ourselves, because then we're like, but then it's got to look like this. 1%, 2%. What would 2% more allowance look like in your life? Comment below, send me a message. I would love to hear. And like, if you like this podcast, share with a friend or tag me or share it on Facebook or review it. But like, I hope this serves you well. And I'm trusting that it is. And I really encourage you this week, when you find yourself fighting, putting your guard up against yourself, to be like, oh, I got a big soul. I got a big soul. I got a big soul. Okay. What is this feeling trying to tell me? And see what happens. I love you. Sing your soul song.